If you've been feeling these signs, then hear this clearly. You're not waiting for the leap. You're already in the middle of it. Every restless night, every synchronicity, every shift in your body and mind is proof that the quantum field has already chosen you. This isn't about luck or even about deserving. It's about readiness. And the fact that you're still here, listening until this exact moment, shows you're already aligned with your highest timeline. Remember this anchor. You are not waiting for the leap. The leap has been waiting for you to align. That's the truth most never hear, and yet it's happening now, in your awareness, in your frequency. Thank you for being here, for walking through these words with me. It says everything about who you already are, someone awake enough to recognize the call and brave enough to step into it. Now, it's your turn to anchor this reality. Comment below with the word that resonated with you most. Coherence, awakening, leap, or calling. Seal it in writing, because every declaration strengthens the vibration. And if you felt this message, share it with someone who's been going through the same. You might be the sign they've been waiting for. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and activate the notifications. This is just one step of the journey, and the next chapter will take you even deeper. Because once you've stepped into alignment, the question becomes, how do you navigate reality, moment by moment, in real time? That's exactly what we'll explore in the next video. There are moments when something keeps catching your eye. The clock flashing 11:11, 22:22, or a butterfly landing right when you've been feeling lost. At first, you think it's just coincidence, but deep inside there's an awareness whispering, this isn't random. Every repetition, every subtle sign is like a frequency knocking on your consciousness, reminding you that reality is about more than what meets the eye. It's like the universe doesn't shout. It nudges softly until you finally pay attention. And when you do, that's the moment when the calling becomes impossible to ignore. Imagine this. You're walking through your normal day, when suddenly the same dream keeps repeating night after night. You wake up confused, wondering why it feels more real than your timeline at work or school. That's because your consciousness is already receiving information before your logical mind catches up. You're feeling the vibration before you can explain it. It's like a radio picking up a signal you can't see, but you can sense it. Most people dismiss it, but the truth is, the universe doesn't waste time sending signals without reason. Think about a clock that isn't working properly. Sometimes the hands rush forward, other times they drag as if time itself is stuck. That's what life feels like when you're about to shift into a higher timeline. Days feel shorter or longer, and every moment bends strangely. It isn't that reality is broken. It's that your frequency is tuning into something different. You've been standing at the doorway of change, and your body, your mind, your awareness are already preparing you for what's coming next. It's the beginning of something most people can't explain, but they've felt it too. Now let's look at those coincidences. You run into the same stranger in different places, you hear the same phrase from three unrelated people, or a book falls from a shelf right when you've been asking for guidance. That's not random. It's what quantum patterns look like when reality is aligning you with your highest path. Every time you notice it, you're literally stepping into communication with the field. You become more than a passive observer. You become an active participant in your own unfolding. These signals are like vibrational messages written into your everyday life. A butterfly isn't just a butterfly when it arrives in the exact moment you're questioning transformation. A repeating number isn't just math when it appears right before you make a life-changing choice. Reality isn't simply happening to you, it's speaking to you, guiding you into alignment. That's why you've been noticing more of these patterns now than before. It's because your awareness has already expanded to catch them. The more you see, the more they multiply. And here's where it gets interesting. You don't have to force these signs because they're already around you. What you can do is train your consciousness to recognize them. A practical way: Keep a synchronicity journal. Write down every time you see repeating numbers, strange coincidences, or dreams that stick with you. Over time, you'll notice threads connecting them, forming a story about what's happening in your reality. It's like the universe weaving a private conversation, and you're finally learning how to read it. I remember when this started happening to me. Every time I thought about giving up on a project, I'd randomly see the same word written on a wall, or someone would mention the exact subject I had in my mind. At first, I laughed it off, but when it kept repeating, I realized it wasn't about luck. It was consciousness showing me that alignment was already in progress, even when I doubted it. That's the power of non-local awareness. You feel the truth before your mind has the words for it. And maybe you've been experiencing this yourself. Strange timings, recurring dreams, little flashes of something more than coincidence. That's the universe's way of reminding you that you're already connected to a higher frequency, one that wants to guide you into your highest timeline. But here's the twist. Before that alignment fully lands, reality tends to stir the waters, and things can feel more chaotic than clear. And that's exactly what we'll dive into next. Have you noticed how sometimes, right before something big happens, life feels like it's falling apart? That's not by accident. It's like the quantum field itself shakes the foundations before shifting you into a higher timeline. Think of a particle in physics. It doesn't glide smoothly into change. It trembles, wobbles, becomes unstable. Your consciousness feels the same. When you've been going through sudden arguments, unexpected bills, or even losing a job, that chaos isn't punishment. It's the prelude, the preparation for transformation. Everyday life gives you examples. Maybe your phone breaks the same week your car starts acting up, or friends you thought would be there forever suddenly drift away. It feels unfair, but it's happening because the old frequency can't follow you into what's next. It's like moving houses. You don't carry every broken chair and useless paper with you. That instability is the field cleaning your timeline, even when you're not ready to let go. It's uncomfortable, but it's also necessary. Picture the caterpillar. It doesn't just grow wings overnight. It dissolves inside the cocoon, breaking down completely before it becomes the butterfly. That's exactly how reality operates when you're about to leap into something higher. In daily terms, it's those moments when you feel you've lost your sense of direction. Maybe you've been up late at night asking, why is this happening now? That's because the old version of you is dissolving, making space for the new. Think about times when your routine collapsed. Maybe your job suddenly ended, forcing you into uncertainty. In the moment, it felt like disaster. But months later, you found yourself in a new role, surrounded by different people, with opportunities you never would have considered before. That's the paradox. What looked like destruction was actually construction in disguise. It's like the universe removing the scaffolding so you can see the real structure underneath. Chaos often shows up in relationships too. You argue with a partner about things that never used to matter, or friendships suddenly feel shallow and you can't stand the fake smiles anymore. It hurts, but it's because your frequency is rising. You're no longer comfortable in spaces that don't align with your reality. What you're feeling is proof that your awareness has expanded, and the universe doesn't allow you to shrink back into comfort zones that no longer serve you. Even small things echo this shift. Your favorite food suddenly makes you sick, your music taste changes overnight, or you can't tolerate gossip at work anymore. These little breakdowns are messages. They show that your vibration is shifting into something more authentic. Reality isn't punishing you, it's recalibrating you. The moment you stop fighting the discomfort and start observing it, you begin to see the pattern. Every loss becomes information about where you're truly heading. Here's a practical way to handle it. Next time life feels messy, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What is this preparing me for?" Keep a list of those moments. Write down the setbacks, the delays, the sudden endings. Later, look back and connect the dots. You'll notice that every so-called failure was like a breadcrumb leading you closer to a higher timeline. That simple shift in perspective turns chaos into guidance and panic into awareness. So if you've been feeling like everything is unstable, remember, the quantum leap doesn't arrive with fireworks first. It comes disguised as disorder. That's the sign you're in the middle of it, not that you're lost. And just when the breakdown feels unbearable, something begins to emerge, like a faint light before dawn. But what happens when that chaos moves from the abstract into your very personal experience? That's where the story gets even more real. There was a season in my life when everything seemed to unravel at once. I'd been working long hours, feeling like every moment was borrowed time, and still nothing felt stable. Nights became longer, my mind racing into thoughts I couldn't control, wondering if I was burning out. The truth is, I wasn't collapsing into illness. I was collapsing into a new timeline. That's what happens when your consciousness is already reaching into something higher, but your old reality hasn't caught up yet. I remember waking up at 3 a.m. almost every night. At first I thought it was stress, but when I spoke to others going through similar shifts, I realized it wasn't just me. Those hours felt like a space between worlds, where awareness became sharper, almost electric. My body was restless, my thoughts like scattered particles. If you've been experiencing this, you're not broken. You're being recalibrated. It's the quantum chaos shaping you from the inside out. During that phase, even simple things felt impossible. I'd open my laptop, stare at the screen, and suddenly forget what I was supposed to do. Conversations felt empty, as if I was playing a role in someone else's script. I thought I was losing focus, but what was really happening is that the old version of me was dissolving. It's like the caterpillar stage we talked about. I wasn't lazy, I was transforming, and when you're in it, reality isn't clear. That's why it feels so confusing. The physical symptoms were just as intense: heart racing without reason, sudden exhaustion, random headaches, even skin reacting in strange ways. Doctors said nothing was wrong, and yet my reality kept shifting. That's when I understood the body isn't separate from consciousness. It translates vibrational change into physical language. When your frequency is rising, the body feels it first. If you've been through this, you know exactly what I mean. It's the body saying you're becoming something more. Mentally, it felt like I was trapped between two worlds. In one, I was still chasing the deadlines, the bills, the routines. In the other, I was being pulled into something bigger, something I couldn't explain but could feel with every cell of my being. That's why anxiety hits hardest during these times. You're not anxious about nothing. You're anxious because reality is shifting under your feet. The ground isn't gone. It's just different now. Emotionally, I reached the point of wanting to give up. Relationships felt unstable, work seemed meaningless, and silence was overwhelming. But in that silence, I began to hear something new. It wasn't a voice, but more like a steady pulse, awareness rising through the noise. That's when I realized this collapse wasn't the end, it was the doorway. And every sleepless night, every tear, was carving out space for the highest version of me to emerge. Maybe you've been there too, lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why nothing makes sense anymore. Maybe you've been walking through your daily life, pretending you're fine, while inside everything feels upside down. If so, you're not alone. That burnout you think you're in might just be your awakening. You've been feeling the vibration of a new reality pressing in, and it doesn't fit with the old. That's why it hurts, because you're stretching into something higher. And here's the paradox: you don't recognize the transformation until you look back. Only later do you see that those breakdowns weren't random suffering, but the exact process needed to shift your frequency. And when the dust finally settles, you realize you've become someone different, someone stronger, someone more aligned. But what really stabilizes this leap isn't surviving the collapse alone. It's learning how to create coherence between your mind, your heart, and your nervous system. At some point, I realized that thinking alone wasn't enough. I'd been repeating affirmations, visualizing outcomes, trying to convince myself of new possibilities, but nothing truly shifted until I learned coherence, the alignment of mind, heart, and nervous system. That's when I understood. The universe doesn't listen to empty words, it listens to frequency. Every thought becomes powerful only when it's carried by the emotion of the heart and anchored in the calmness of the body. Imagine a radio station. If the mind is tuned to one channel, the heart to another, and the body vibrating in static, you won't get a clear signal. That's why so many people say, "I've been visualizing, but nothing is happening." It isn't that reality doesn't respond, it's that the signal is scrambled. When your mind says, "I'm ready," but your body is shaking with fear, the universe reads the fear. That's why coherence matters more than positive thinking. Here's a simple example from daily life. Let's say you're preparing for a job interview. You tell yourself, "I'll get this job." But deep down you feel anxious, your stomach is tight, your breath is shallow. That's the frequency the universe hears. Not the sentence, but the vibration. Now picture the same interview where you breathe deeply, focus on gratitude, and allow your body to relax into confidence. Even before you speak, you're already broadcasting a different signal. That's coherence in action. The science of this is fascinating. HeartMath Institute discovered that the heart produces an electromagnetic field stronger than the brain. When the heart and brain are synchronized, your body becomes like a laser, focused, sharp, penetrating reality. But when they're out of sync, you're like a flickering light bulb, scattered, dim, unreliable. Every moment of your life is influenced by this balance. It explains why some people seem magnetic, while others struggle despite trying everything. I tested this myself during meditation. Instead of forcing thoughts like, "I am abundant," while worrying about bills, I shifted to gratitude for the smallest things: the breath in my lungs, the sun on my face, the silence of the room. Within minutes, my nervous system calmed, my heart rate slowed, and my thoughts began to align. That's when I felt the shift. My body finally believed what my mind was imagining. That's the exact moment coherence unlocked the field. Think of it like learning to dance. If the mind knows the steps but the body resists, you'll stumble. But when both flow with the rhythm, something beautiful emerges. Coherence works the same way. You don't force the dance. You let rhythm guide you. And when your thoughts, emotions, and physiology move as one, reality begins to bend toward that harmony. That's why people say alignment feels effortless, because it's no longer a fight. It's resonance. A practical way to train this is through breath. Try inhaling for 5 seconds, holding for 5, and exhaling for 5. Do it while focusing on gratitude, even for something small. In that moment, your mind quiets, your heart expands, and your nervous system settles. That's coherence practice. Do it daily, and you'll notice not just inner peace, but outer synchronicities multiplying. It's like your timeline rearranges to meet you at that frequency. So if you've been wondering why positive thinking hasn't worked, this is the missing key. It's not about chasing attraction with words, but embodying alignment with frequency. Once you become coherent, reality doesn't resist, it responds. And when coherence takes root, you begin to notice signs that your leap is closer than ever. But how do you know in concrete terms when that shift is right at your doorstep? That's what we'll uncover next. One of the clearest signs you're approaching a quantum leap is your intolerance for lies and masks. Suddenly, conversations that used to feel normal now sound fake, and your body reacts with discomfort. Maybe it's gossip at work or small talk that feels meaningless. You've been sensing it more because your awareness is sharpening. Reality isn't tolerating old illusions anymore. When that happens, it's proof your frequency is already shifting into a higher timeline. Another sign is the feeling of urgency that seems to come out of nowhere. You wake up with energy pulsing in your chest, like you should be doing something, even though you can't explain what. That urgency isn't anxiety, it's alignment. It's the field pulling you into motion before your mind can label the direction. Think of it like a countdown clock that only you can feel. Every moment pushes you closer into becoming who you already are at your highest level. Your intuition also becomes louder, almost impossible to ignore. You think of someone and they call. You sense not to take a certain road and later find out there was an accident. These aren't coincidences. They're evidence of coherence. It's like the universe has been speaking all along, but now the volume is up. The more you trust those signals, the more accurate they become. It's a feedback loop between your consciousness and the field. During meditation, you may even see spontaneous images, portals, staircases, golden light, visions that feel more real than dreams. At first, you might dismiss them as imagination, but they carry a frequency that lingers. You wake up remembering details that guide your decisions. For example, a dream of crossing a bridge might inspire you to finally take a leap in your career. Reality isn't random. Every symbol is information about your unfolding timeline. Another sign is the sense of coming home without knowing why. You walk into a new place and feel like you've been there before, or you meet someone and feel an immediate recognition, like you've known them forever. That feeling isn't nostalgia, it's resonance. Your frequency is syncing with spaces and people aligned to your next reality. Every time you sense that familiarity, it's proof the collapse of timelines has already begun. These signs also show up in the body. Food you once loved might now feel heavy. Environments you used to tolerate suddenly drain you. On the flip side, time in nature or silence fills you with clarity. Your nervous system is acting like a compass, guiding you toward coherence. Pay attention. If your body is rejecting old patterns, it's not punishment, it's preparation. Reality is tuning you like an instrument, refining your sound for what's next. Here's a practical exercise. Create a signs list. Write down every strange timing, every intuitive nudge, every dream or vision that stands out. Treat it like collecting data. Over time, you'll see patterns forming, not just random events, but guidance pointing in one direction. This makes the abstract concrete. It turns uncertainty into awareness, and it shows you that the leap isn't someday in the future. It's already happening now. So when you've been noticing these concrete signs, the urgency, the visions, the inner compass pulling stronger than before, know this: you're not imagining it. You've become sensitive to the frequency of change, and with every signal, the universe is whispering, you're closer than you think. But here's the deeper truth. Your leap isn't just personal. The moment you shift, you open the path for countless others too. When you shift, it doesn't just change your personal timeline. It ripples outward into the collective field. Every step you take into alignment creates space for others to step too. Think of it like walking through a dense forest. The first person cuts the path, struggles through branches, stumbles on rocks, but once that trail is carved, the next traveler walks with less resistance. Your leap is that trail. You've been carrying more than yourself. You've been clearing the way. It's easy to believe that your journey is private, invisible, but reality isn't built that way. Consciousness is connected, non-local, woven into every moment. When you've been raising your frequency, you're not just elevating your life, you're altering the collective vibration. A stranger in another city might suddenly find courage because you did. That's the paradox. The universe doesn't separate your awareness from the whole. Every leap you make becomes a signal. There's a concept some call a morphic field, the idea that once something is achieved, it becomes easier for everyone else. Imagine the first person to run a mile in under 4 minutes. Before that, most thought it was impossible. But once it happened, dozens did it soon after. Why? Because the field had shifted. The information was already in the collective. Your personal transformation works the same way. When you break through, you upload possibility into reality. In daily life, you see this ripple in subtle ways. You decide to live more authentically, and suddenly your family starts questioning their routines too. You leave a toxic job, and a friend gains the courage to quit theirs. You heal a wound, and your child grows up freer from that same pattern. That's the collective impact in action. Every choice becomes more than personal. It becomes a spark, lighting others' paths. I've seen it firsthand. When I shared my story of collapse and awakening, messages poured in. I thought I was alone. I've been feeling the same. Your words gave me clarity. What I realized was that my leap wasn't mine alone. It was a mirror for others, showing them that their chaos wasn't madness but transformation. That's why your story matters. You never know who's been waiting for your frequency to show them what's possible. Think of it like tuning an instrument in an orchestra. When one instrument aligns, it helps others tune faster. The sound becomes fuller, richer, more harmonious. That's what happens when you've been stepping into coherence. You're not just raising your vibration, you're harmonizing reality itself. And the collective music changes because of you. Every single act of alignment matters more than you think. Here's the invitation. See your leap as a mission, not just a gift. Write your story. Speak your truth. Share the practices that helped you. You don't need a stage or a microphone. Sometimes it's a conversation with a friend. Sometimes it's the energy you carry into a room. The universe doesn't require perfection. It requires participation. Your frequency is already a teacher, even when you don't try. And maybe that's the deepest secret. Awakening isn't selfish. It's service. When you step into your highest reality, you've been holding the door for the rest of us. That's why your leap matters more than you've realized. And it's also why the journey doesn't end here. Because once you've shifted, the next question becomes, how do you live every day from this new level of awareness? If you've been feeling this, you're not waiting for the leap. You're already in it. Every sign, every dream, every shift in your body is proof. This isn't about luck. It's about readiness. Remember this, the leap isn't waiting for someday. The leap has been waiting for you. Comment below with the word that hit you most: coherence, awakening, leap, or calling. Share this with someone who needs it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications, because the next video will take you even deeper, showing you how to live this shift in real time.